Hey everyone, happy Friday. Today is Friday, March 21st. It is 6 p.m. We're going to do just a little bit of a recap, and we have a guest tonight. I told you advertising all week that we have a city council candidate, Maya Kornberg, joining us. She's running for District Council 39 for city council. And we're excited to have an opportunity for her to come and speak with you, let you know who she is and what she stands for and what she wants to see come to her district, changes that she makes, the things that she believes in. And like usual, as you have your questions, you can ask her. Our focus clearly is about retiree issues, but clearly you live in the district and in the city. So of course you'll want to ask her questions that are important to you. She probably has till about 6:30 or 6:40. So we're going to keep this tight and direct. I want you to know that nothing has changed. The state bill is still in place. The Senate has not put in language to match the Assembly language. The Assembly language was adopted. And that's on that pension Ponzi scheme bill. So every day, I still need you to make phone calls and do the emails to the state legislature because it's going to Majority Leader Stuart Cousins, Speaker Heastie, the governor, all of the Assembly and the Senate. And we need to keep pushing that. So that is real. This week, there was clearly a narrative between DC 37 and the United Federation of Teachers that was trying to unsettle the real facts. And while they wanted to attack bloggers or people like myself who are putting out factual information from the city comptroller, the state comptroller, the budget hearings, the governor's office, copies of the bill, where it was adopted, they still wanted to make it like it didn't happen or that they weren't a part of it. Things just don't get up into the governor's office and become legislation or potential legislation if it wasn't supported by the unions. And remember, there's 5 pension systems. 2 of the largest unions lead 3 of the largest pension systems, and only those 3 and the 2 uniform unions did not agree to go on. So where Michael Mulgrew of the United Federation of Teachers, TRS leadership might want to tell you that it's not real, it is, I'm not going to say it was, it is still on the table and it is a real thing. Michael Mulgrew did admit that it has been something that they have been discussing for the last 2 years. Henry Garrido denies that even exists, that they denied that they were involved in it at all and that it was done behind their back. So I don't know what's going on there, but clearly we exposed something because we all got attacked pretty heavily this week. So clearly we must be exposing something that they didn't want you to know. The mere fact that Michael Mulgrew admitted that he's been working on this, the UFT TRS has been working on this for the last 2 years, was consistent with what we put out and the bloggers put out a couple weeks ago. So I think we're on the right track in telling you our information, and there's no reason to think that we've been lying to you. We fact check the hell out of everything and our sources before we put anything out. The question really should be is how come our union leadership was lying to us that this was something they'd been working on for the last 2 years, and we're trying to re-amortize the pension system, donations, re-amortize the pension donation, pension contributions that the city had to make to finance, to fund the pension system. And there was another group that was out there, and I still can't figure out where the heck there was some misinformation that came out that did not come from me or the bloggers or this organization. We put that out there. If that was that green flyer that you saw in some site, and I still can't figure out where that came from, but all of ours, like the Katie blog, the UFT bloggers, Arthur and myself, we were on point with everything that we've said to you. We've given you video evidence, and we gave you comptroller evidence from the city and the state, and also the governor's office. So everything that we put out there was accurate. The bigger question is, how come the unions didn't say, the union leadership, how come Mr. Mulgrew and Mr. Garrido didn't tell all of us that they were working on this for the last 2 years and that they were considering doing this to save the city from, let's reframe that, to allow the city to put $600 million less into the pension funding. Now, pension funding is currently at 85%, which means all those that are currently retired would be funded over the long term. What this really puts at risk is active workers who really aren't paying attention to us or anything else that's happening right now. And they think, I guess we're all crazy. But they would be more at a risk because The day we made that announcement, remember, the Dow dropped at about 500 points. And also coming out of Washington, pretty much Wall Street was freaked out with some of the decisions that were coming out of Washington, that we were moving into a recession. And that's why the Dow dropped that day. If we do move into a recession, recessions usually take 10 to 15, sometimes a little bit longer months in order to come out of it. And if you have an extended recession, and then that puts you into the period of time when the city has to make up for the funding that it did not pay for the first 7 years of this deal. That was a reduction of 7 years of $600 million a year. Doesn't that number sound coincidental? Does anyone know where that number came from? Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right. They wanted that to fund their stabilization fund. That's why they sold off us. Then in 2033 to 2044, those payments were going to increase. So I don't care what fancy little webinars that the UFT puts out. Clearly, the MOGRU and the DC-37 and UFT messaging is conflicting from what all of the elected are telling us is going on. And the other mere fact is that DC-37 went to Albany March 3rd or 4th. UFT was up there on the 11th or 12th. Did either organization lobby against this legislation? No. So I'm just going to leave it right there. It's 6:07. I want to say hello to everybody. Hi, Laura. It's good to see you. Hi, William. Hello, Carol. Thank you. I know, what a week. It's been really crazy. I'm just going to tell you, keep doing your homework, because that's really what I need you guys to do. I want to thank our Women Warrior team who are making those calls to the community boards. I appreciate you 100%. And it's working. Hello, Joe. Matthew, yes, Maya did sign a pledge to support us, and she will talk a little bit more about that. The 3 things that we've asked all of the people that we said we would support, that they had to support to protect our traditional Medicare, not having us, forced into a Medicare Advantage plan and pay to stay on traditional Medicare or cost pass on to us. We also wanted them to commit to getting our Medicare B reimbursement sooner than the 16 to 22 months that they're coming back now. We used to get those monthly, then they went to quarterly in the 80s, and no one ever fixed it. So now that we're talking about fixing problems, it's time. We need to get those at least quarterly in the year that we're paying them. And then the third issue was granting a 30 or 60-day period to be able to resolve getting health insurance for your dependents when the retiree dies, as we keep reminding you that your health insurance dies the day you die, and literally the day you die. So we want to make sure that your loved ones, while they're going through that grieving process, someone get a letter or a call to advise them that they need to prepare for an alternate source of healthcare. So those are the 3 issues that candidates that we've supported have said that if they sign that letter, that we put them on the page. And you can see the page below. There's a ticker down there. You'll see our donate email address, donate address, which all of you know, nycretirees.org. You'll also see the campaign page, because I'm trying to keep things separate. And that page is retiredlaborstrong.nyc. That's our campaign page. You can see who's supporting us. I have a few more people I have to put up there this week. And then you'll also see Maya's page. It says mayaforcouncil.com. And that's down there as well. So you can go to her page to sign up, to volunteer, to do petitioning or canvassing for her. And then eventually, I'm sure we'll do robocalls. We'll have a rally like we did some of the other candidates. So yes, absolutely. I'm going to bring Maya in, because I know she's pressured for time. She has a little one that she's taking care of, and it'll be his bedtime soon. So I'm going to bring in Maya.
Hi there.
So this is Maya Kornberg. Maya, welcome to the New York City Retirees Friday Night Lives. We do this every Friday, live streaming in 5 different social media platforms. And I'm going to take just a quick look in the chat. You should be able to see it on your side. So if there's something you see that I don't, that you want to answer, go right ahead. Mm-hmm. So let's see. I could hear him cooing in the background.
Yeah, my baby's in the other room. Apologies for the background noise.
So Maya, tell us a little bit about yourself and your district and why you want to run for city council.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. And again, and apologies for the baby in the background. That's okay. It's the background track to my life right now. I it's great to be here with all of you tonight. I know that it's been a tough first 2 months of 2025 with Trump taking office, and in just 2 months taking aim at so many of our basic rights and values. For me, as someone who's worked on democracy my whole career and currently work as a senior fellow and manager at the Brennan Center for Justice, it's clear than ever before that City Council is going to be our best line of defense against Trump in protecting our democracy, our progressive values, and our basic rights, including healthcare, which is a basic human right. Healthcare is also a core tenet of my campaign and my reason for running. As you can hear, I have a baby now, as I mentioned, but I spent a lot of last year pregnant, and I was pregnant with a high-risk pregnancy as a result of living with a chronic autoimmune disease. And my experience was that I had to fight every step of the way just to get the basic care that I needed for me and for my baby. And so I want to fight to make sure that everyone has access to healthcare, especially right now as the federal government is attacking healthcare, is attacking healthcare specifically for certain groups, including women, including senior citizens. And I am thrilled to be with the organization of retirees in your fight to maintain access to traditional Medicare, in your fight for reimbursements and for the grace period that you mentioned earlier, Marianne, all of which I think are so basic, and we have to keep fighting for. And I'm happy to talk a little bit more about the rest of my platform, but I just wanted to say that, that I'm with you all and that I'm running because I want to make sure that everyone in District 39 and in the city has access not just to healthcare, but to all the tools and resources that we need to thrive. And again, especially right now as the federal government is attacking.
Yeah, so go ahead and go into some of the things that you do support, because that is your platform, and you do have district members that are here and that would eventually listen to this later if they're not listening to it live.
Yeah, so a few things that matter to me and that I've been thinking a lot about recently. We mentioned Trump. One of the things I think a lot is about safety. What it means to be safe in the United States right now, and in New York right now, and in District 39. And I've worked on political violence as one of the issues that I've spent a lot of time thinking about right now, how we keep elections safe, how we keep elected safe. That's what I do in my job at the Brennan Center. And so my answer is that safety to me means a lot of different things. It means knowing that I can feel safe on the subway. And I'm running because I think that we have to be addressing the mental health crisis in the city, and we need to be investing in crisis first responders and other interventions to help folks when there's non-criminal behavior that does not necessitate police intervention in the subway and elsewhere. And we need to be investing more in restorative justice programs like the Brooklyn Mental Health Court as well. And we need to be, and I know this again from my work, we need to be in conversation with local law enforcement and in the community. My opponent has been calling to defund the police. And though I believe and know from my job how much we need police reform and prison reform in the city, including working to permanently close Rikers Island, defunding the police completely is not going to keep anyone safer.
Right.
And so that's one core tenet of safety to me. The other part of feeling safe for me is knowing that my husband can bike to work as a school teacher and arrive safely on bike lanes. It's knowing that I can push my son in a stroller throughout the district, and know that the subway stations across the district are accessible to strollers and wheelchairs and folks with physical mobility issues. And right now, we are defying federal law by having under 25% of the subways in this city be ADA compliant, and definitely not all the sidewalks in this district be safe for folks with strollers and wheelchairs. Safety to me also means knowing that as we face rising temperatures and constant reminders of climate change here in District 39, from the fire in Prospect Park to the flooding in Gowanus, that we are implementing our green infrastructure program, that we are codifying and funding city cooling programs, that we are pushing to increase the city's tree canopy from 22% to 30%, when trees, we know, bring temperatures down and help absorb stormwater. These are all solutions that are right there, ripe for the taking, and we just need we need to get them done. So that's what safety is for me. The other thing that has driven me to run is that I chose to live here and raise my family here because I love this part of the city, and I want it to be a place where I have a future. And Right now, that's hard to envision because I'm a renter in this district. I work at a nonprofit. My husband's a teacher. Rents are really high, and childcare is obscenely expensive. And so, if
Yes.
we want New York City to be a place that is affordable and livable for families like my own, and many other folks across the city, we have to be pushing to fully fund 3K programs and fund 2K programs and fund infant care. We have to be investing in more affordable housing. The affordability crisis is real, and I hear it every day when I'm out on the doors. And the last thing I'll say about my issues, and I'd love to answer some questions, is that I know from spending my whole career working on democracy that the bread and butter of good government, and you all, I'm sure, know this too from the tremendous activism that you've done, is that people want to be listened to. They want to be heard, and government works better when it listens to people.
Yes.
What I have heard from knocking on doors and being at events and being in conversation from folks throughout the district since August when I filed to run is that people here don't feel seen and heard and listened to. And that has to change. I have enjoyed doing that work even as a candidate. I think that that's the number one job of particularly a local council member. And I think we have a council member who has used this position as kind of a platform to become an influencer or be talking about other issues that are not in the purview of the city council. And we have to refocus on what matters, and that's listening to people about local issues. So I've enjoyed doing that every evening and every day in the campaign so far. And I look forward to doing it here tonight and every night until June.
And we've seen that, a lot of those conversations here too. We try to educate our retirees as well as helping educate young union members, active members today, that when they're working to run for office or run, whether it's political office or their union office, whether it's retired or active unions, that they need to be able to establish a platform running on the bread and butter issues in which that they have the authority to change. That it doesn't make sense in fighting for something that is like, a political hotbed that they have absolutely no control over, that might be a social justice or might be a political issue, whether it's a national or international, but it's out of the confines of what you have the ability or the authority to control or change, and yet becomes divisive in that very same grain. So we, in longtime unionists, going back all the way to AFL-CIO originality of Samuel Gompers, is we talk about it in bread and butter issues, the things that affect your daily life, that make your work life, your income, the things that affect you in work better. So that's the things that you have the ability to change. There are things that you don't do. We try not to discuss them. We tell everyone to try to leave their politics at the door. Matthew Weber has a question. He says, as a council member, what can be done to ensure legitimate intros can actually see the light of day? He's referencing our bill, that the speaker is literally blocking the bill because the council will not do the right thing to make sure that it gets a hearing. She's actually violating the council rules. Council rules state that the speaker cannot interfere in a committee holding a meeting or hearing on legislation before it. And that's exactly what she's done for two bills.
So I work on legislatures and how to make them more effective. And I see these tactics all the time. I mean, the tactics that we see in the council here from the speaker are similar tactics to what we see in Congress and in other legislatures. And committees are a tremendous tool. And that's why I wrote a whole book about them. I like them more than the average person might. I spent a lot of time thinking about them. They are a tremendous tool to be conducting oversight and legislation in legislatures, including in the city council, and raising awareness through hearings and holding agency representatives to account and doing other things. And so it's common that the party leaders will be afraid of that as a powerful tool and use tactics to try to bypass the committee process. We see that again and again on a national level. I've worked on that in Congress, and those same lessons I would bring to the council. I think that the way to bypass any kind of leader who's trying to usurp power, which is what we see with party speakers in this case, is to build a broad enough coalition who say this is happening. It's happening. When you look at, and I've taught about Congress in particular, so that's why these are my examples. But when you look at the time in which Congress has actually banded together over history to say enough is enough, it's after World War II, it's after Watergate, it's, you know, hopefully now again, although we're not seeing that to the extent that we would like to with the GOP, but maybe there'll be a call to action. But when something is said, we say enough is enough, we're going to band together as a bipartisan coalition. So I think that's the kind of energy that we need in the council in order to stand up against some of these tactics that are tried and true tactics when you're trying to delay a bill.
Yep, absolutely. Ellen says, as a retired attorney, I would say that I have been very concerned by President Trump's statement and those of his supporters that judges should be impeached instead of discontented litigants going through the appellate process. Any comments on how this could affect city retirees who worked hard for decades and want our Medicare and Medicaid and our pensions be safe?
Mm-hmm. So I am not an expert on the court system. I will admit that. I work with a lot of lawyers who are, and I am, and my expertise is in legislatures. But what I can say is that I think that what this moment demands in the fight for Medicare is for everyone to band together. And the administration is trying every tool in their tool belt. I mean, it seems like they're just shooting from the hip and going for everything right now. And we see this with healthcare, and we see this with, you know, dismantling the Department of Education, and we see this throughout what the administration is trying to do. And so it's going to take, you know, everyone in every branch of government and in every level of government standing up in different ways and doing exactly what the you know what you all are doing with the New York City organization of retirees. You're not just saying we're just going to the courts, or we're just going through the legislative process, or we're just raising awareness. You're doing it all.
Yes.
And I think that that's what we're going to have to keep doing nationally. So I'm sorry I can't, you know, share more specifics. I'm trying to educate myself more about the issues, but it's a really interesting point. And yeah, and I think we have to keep going.
And that's what triggers their frustrations. Like Joe says, do you realize Adrienne Adams is a progressive Democrat, and that if the rest of the Democratic council members voted for Intro 1096, it would have already passed? And he's right. The majority of Democratic council members are the reason why this bill is going nowhere. DC 37 and AFSCME always support Democratic candidates, and they are ignoring us. That, I have to tell you, Maya, is one of my biggest disappointments, because when I started this fight, I convinced a team of people to work with me that it would only take 6 months, as New York City is Democratic. The body is 51 people who are mostly Democratic, mostly progressive, mostly women. Women are nurturers, and we're smarter. And so I said, this will be a slam dunk. And here I am 4 years later, not 6 months. And like, you know, they'll needle me like, okay, we're on 4 years now. Now what? And this really is a no-brainer. It is a Medicare. It is a Democratic Party platform position. This should have been resolved years ago. And for Adrienne Adams, who is our current speaker, a Democrat progressive from District 28 in Southeast Queens, now wanting to run for mayor, is concerning to me, because she just did a video the other day saying that the legislation can't be done. It would be tied up in court and it's illegal. And it is not. She says it should never have been before the city council. Again, incorrect, because it is the city council that legislated our ability to have Medicare in 1967. And it had been amended by the city council dozens of times up until the last amendment in 2001 by the great Mary Pinkett, who was the first African-American city councilwoman in 1974. And so I don't understand why this speaker thinks she cannot add an amendment to the law one more time, not to give us anything new, but to preserve what we've had for 60 years. So you just read Joe. Joe's frustrated like the rest of us, because this is a Democratic position.
Yeah. It's a core Democratic position. I mean, it's the, you know, one of the bedrock of the Democratic Party in a way, is healthcare and Medicare.
Yes, and when Medicare Act was signed in 1965, Lyndon Johnson they were trying. Remember the time? It was the 60s. Segregation really bad racism. You could not get in to see a doctor if you were African American, if you were low income. They had colored waiting rooms and white waiting rooms, and you had a disparate level of care. Medicare got rid of all of that, because if the doctors and hospitals wanted federal reimbursement for a Medicare recipient, they had to do away with segregation of healthcare. It took away that those wealthier people on Medicare got better care than those who didn't, or who were people of color. And yet I have a Black speaker who is not protecting the community. This, to me, defies logic. So you'll see their frustration here. They're frustrated that where all of them are saying, you have to worry about President Trump and you have to worry about Project 2025. Well, this is the default plan in Project 2025. And it's being imposed by our own union, because they sold us off for raises, the mayor who's lost his soul to a whole bunch of things, and then a speaker who's currying favor not to do the right thing and making one excuse after another. And so they're frustrated.
I can only imagine. Yeah.
John says the fusion ticket that elected LaGuardia in November of 1933 was a Republican Party and a smallish left-wing party. The city's democratic machine has been a corrupt institution going back to the 19th century. It's kind of crazy, I know.
Yeah, and I think when you have a one-party city, there's a lot of issues that come about. And I've been on the executive board now of two independent Democratic reform clubs in Brooklyn, the Central Brooklyn Independent Democrats and the Independent Neighborhood Democrats. And I'm proud to have received the endorsement of both of those clubs. And part of those clubs are saying we need to think about reforming the party right now. And I think that that's a really important part of this conversation. As well, when we think about what it means to be a Democrat today and how we've lost our way as a party.
Erwin has asked this question 4 times, so I'm going to put it up here. He says, are you for ICE to have an office on Rikers Island?
I mean, I'll say that I think that we should be working towards closing Rikers Island on time by 2027, and that's one of several prison reforms that I think that we need to be working towards in the city. And in addition to kind of my position on closing Rikers, which I think we just have to be working towards, I think that we have to be also using every tool in our tool belt to protect the other thing that makes New York City great, which is that it's a city of immigrants. I'm a granddaughter of someone who came here as a refugee, and another person my grandfather was born in the tenements of the Lower East Side and grew up in Brooklyn, and went to City College and was the son of an immigrant. I think that's what makes the city great. And we have to be investing in legal aid and translation and public awareness and education to making sure that our schools are safe and our hospitals are safe and folks know their rights. And we're standing with our immigrant neighbors right now.
Very good. John Harrington said, is Maya still in the window for petition signatures to get on the ballot? Remember, it's best to get double the required amount. How about matching funds window? 1 times 8 is $9.
Yes, excellent question. So I don't know if I'm able to put things in the chat, but I
guess you can. You should be able to type.
Okay. So we are going to be out petitioning all weekend, and I'm going to put some links in the chat, and then you can sign up on Mobilize, and we'll be out next week and next weekend as well. On Sunday, we're actually going to be petitioning with Brad Lander, who I know is another one of your endorsed candidates.
Right.
And Saturday will be. We'll be out tomorrow in Grand Army Plaza. So I'm going to put the links there in a moment. And we are in a good position with petitioning. But as you mentioned, we're aiming high. We're aiming for 3 times the number to be super safe. Because, of course, when you're running against an incumbent, as I am, the easiest way to beat me is to just get me knocked off the ballot to begin with. So we are aiming high, and it's going great. But we're going to keep going until April 4th. So I'm going to put that in the chat right now.
Okay. While you're doing that, I'm going to read you a question from Ellen. She says, would you consider running as an independent? The Democratic Party seems to have lost its way.
So I am running in the primary. I am a lifelong Democrat. I do agree that the party is in need of a deep kind of soul searching right now, and that's part of why I'm running. But I'm a lifelong Democrat. And I'm having some trouble joining the chat. I don't know if there's a way that I can send it. I can send it in the private chat, maybe this.
Is there a private chat on your side?
Yeah, it just says private chat.
Okay, send it to me. I'll see where that pops up, and then I'll.
Did you see it in the private chat or no? I can always email it to you or something too.
Email it to me now so I could grab it, because I'm not even seeing a private chat.
Yeah. Okay. So let me. Sorry about that, guys.
That's okay. While you're doing that, I'll read the next question. That'll take a couple minutes. It says, thank you, Maya. What are your largest and smallest ethnic groups in your district, and how do you plan to address their concerns? Are you meeting with these group leaders?
Oh, and Olivia just said that it's in the chat.
Oh, it is?
The
Okay.
mobilized link. Yeah, so you should be able to see it in the chat. I think Olivia, my field director, put it there. Sorry, and to your question, yes, there are a lot of different groups in this big, diverse district that have different issues that they've organized around, whether it be community leaders working on the environmental issues around Gowanus, and some of the continued work on rezoning in Gowanus, or the folks who have been involved in everything going on in the Arrowlina rezoning, in the Windsor Terrace part of the district, whether it be faith leaders in the district, or folks who run different daycare facilities. I've had a chance to speak to folks who are trying to maintain their daycare facility or trying to open one, about the struggles that they face, given that childcare is a core part of my platform. Whether it's, retirees in the district, and visiting homes, or groups like Good Neighbors in Park Slope. I've really tried to be in conversation with as many different groups as possible. And I think that one of the things that is great about this district is that it is a very civically engaged district. We had one of the highest turnouts in the city in 2021. We had like a 57% voter turnout in a primary, which I think is crazy and speaks to how engaged this district is. And I'm already a part of things like the Park Slope Food Co-op, the Democratic clubs that I mentioned, and some of the parent groups and stuff like that. But my favorite part of being a candidate has been meeting with so many different folks who've organized around so many different issues. Just yesterday, I was knocking on doors and I met a wonderful local leader who has worked so much, so effectively on pushing towards planting more trees in the Cobble Hill part of the district, where there's so many empty tree beds right now. So just one micro example, but yeah, I'm out there speaking to as many different groups, and certainly if you have ideas for groups that we should speak to, please reach out. Hopefully Olivia can put her contact or our contact in the chat as well.
I'm going to grab her email while you do this question. Can you list 3 specific things that we should be doing to advance our matter?
It's hard for me to say that I should be advising you rather than learning from you about the tremendous fight that you're fighting. As I mentioned, I think, saying, okay, one door is closed, we're going to try to look for all the different windows to open, as you all are doing, is exactly the way to be doing things. And continuing to fight in the courts, and continuing to build a public pressure campaign and a legislative coalition that is big, so that the moment that the window does present itself, we can finally pass this legislation, and finally be addressing this issue.
Everything in place.
Yeah, exactly. And the public awareness campaign. I love having your logo on my palm cards now petitioning, because it is a conversation starter with folks. A lot of people don't know that this is going on. And I loved, I think it was in the rally that we did, someone said that everyone is a retiree in training. So there's a lot of folks who are retirees in training, future retirees who don't know about this fight and how important it is. And I think that it's really wonderful, the work that you all are doing to raise awareness about it.
And that's really important too. And that's why we decided that we would support candidates and endorse them and work with their campaigns, especially if they committed to the 3 issues that we had. And that actually was started by Jim Walden, who's an independent running for mayor. He said, what are your 3 issues? That's really the first time someone asked me, like, what is your problems that your group is dealing with that I could help solve? And I sat with him and I went over the 3 things that came to the top of my mind. And then we discussed the history of them. And he said how he would fix them. And I said, all right, let's do this. And he literally signed it a letter, signed his name to it. And then he said, hold me accountable. And then ask other candidates to do the same thing and hold them accountable, because now you have it in writing from me. No one ever did that to me before. So we said, all right, that's going to be the standard.
It should be. It should be. And I hope to be in a position where you can hold me accountable in a few months as well.
Yes. Ellen says, if you win, will you invite Marianne and others from your group to your pressers at City Council so we can get more publicity?
Yes, most definitely.
Laura, what can you do to stop City Council from blocking and filtering emails that come from legitimate citizens? Did you know they did that?
You know, I'm not, I'll admit that's the first time I'm hearing of blocking and filtering emails. I have heard a lot of folks who just don't have their emails answered for different reasons. And I definitely think that there needs to be a refocusing on engaging with constituents, especially right now, as the Adams administration and the Trump administration have undermined so much trust in our government on a public level.
Yes, they're not listening to us. So what they've done is they literally filter our emails to the garbage or to a separate folder. They don't, and they won't answer them. And they'll say, all the things that they'll say is, you don't live in my district, or you don't live in New York. We are still a retiree on New York City benefits that come under the purview of the council. And yet they still want to ignore you. And they're still ignoring people that live in their district on this issue.
Yes, yes, yes.
So yes to all of it.
And I think that the job of council members is to hear people who they agree with and disagree with. And yeah, I do think, you know, as a representative, people are not always going to agree with you on everything. That's okay.
No.
So yeah, and I again apologize. I think
it's going to be time for your baby.
In a moment.
I'll take this one last question from Joe. He says, you said your husband's a teacher. Can he contact Michael Mulgrew and ask him to meet with Marianne? It's important that Mulgrew supposedly backed off his support for the switch to Medicare Advantage. However, he won't discuss the issue and he just lurks in the background. One day you'll be on Medicare like us, and you will then be thankful you supported us.
So he is a teacher, but he works at a private Jewish school. So he's unfortunately not a member of the UFT. I do have many friends who are public school teachers and principals, and I can certainly share that with them, though.
Well, I'm going to leave you the closing words since it looks like your baby wants your attention. So go ahead.
Yeah, thank you for bearing with me with all the background noise.
He's a constituent.
Exactly. And he's a future retiree as well, I hope. So I'll just say thank you again so much for having me. I've really enjoyed being in conversation. We hope to get a chance to see you all soon. Hopefully Olivia has shared the info. We do have a lot of petitioning events coming up, but also we have a bunch of meet and greets. We had a wonderful meet and greet in the South Slope last week. We're going to have more. So if you're in the district, if you have friends in the district who just want to come out and hear more in person, we can share a little bit more information about that. But for the time being, it was just wonderful to be with you virtually on this Friday night. And thank you again so much, Marianne, for having me.
You are absolutely welcome. Let us know if you ever want to come back again. And guys, we put 3 different links in the chat. They go to her upcoming events. Please click those mobilized links, and her website is in the ticker down below. And if you have any questions, reach out to Olivia. Her email was also in the chat. Thank you, Maya. I appreciate you. I'm going to put you back in the waiting room, and you are free to spend your evening the way you want to. And I will talk to you soon.
Thanks so much. See you all soon.
You're welcome. Bye-bye. So everyone, I'll now just pick back up to where we were. Thank you guys for asking those questions. I know knew she had a very narrow window for this, but she did want a chance to meet with you because she did sign the letter for us and wanted to support us. And so we told her that we would be glad to host her. Friday, as you know, is a crazy busy day for me. Hey, Yolanda, it's good to see you. Yes, I am aware that there is no matching language in the Senate. That doesn't mean that that language won't come back. It is still in the Assembly, which still makes it potentially viable because the Assembly had supported that language. That language was accepted. And now, because there's no language, they had to remove the original language out of the Senate. That language can come back. So I'm still want you to keep up this campaign because look, they have lied to us from the get-go, right? They lied to us about changing our health care. They lied to us that you would have your health care for the Medicare, traditional Medicare for the rest of your life. And then they sold it out. We found out in the newspaper in 2021 in the middle of a freaking pandemic. They've tried to force us off traditional Medicare. They lied about the reasons why. They lied about the plan. They lied that the plan would take all doctors. That wasn't the case. They lied that there was no copays. They lied about you could see any doctor that you want to see. All doctors will accept that plan. Lie, lie, and lie. So there is nothing that UFT DC 37 leadership can say that will make me believe them any more today than I did yesterday. They lied about that. They lied about the copays. The copays, they're telling us they're going to be increasing. They're not going to cap the copays. They're telling us they're going to bring more things because they need more money. Michael Mulgrew and Henry Garrido lied about this pension reamortization. This is just never ending. And where unions used to have a level of morality where they would protect retired people that were from their unions. And remember something, guys, this doesn't just affect retired unionists. This also affects retirees that are non-union and where policymakers are managerial. The same pattern is forced on them. And this is why it's important to look at this. So, yeah, it is frustrating. It is very frustrating. And then to have that whole choreography dance out of the UFT the other day is absolutely ridiculous. We have said the entire time of all the presentation that we put out that this would reduce what the city had to pay for the next 7 years to the tune of $600 million a year. That number just keeps coming up, folks. And that's not me making that up. And then none of them were talking about it. Let me ask you something. Do you get text messages and emails from AFSCME, from DC 37, from the UFT when they want you to call someone? Call this person and advocate against this. Call this person and tell them don't sign this bill. Why didn't any of them do this? No, they didn't because they were supporting it. And they just didn't want you to know. I can't fathom any other reason. Both large unions brought several buses worth of unionists up to Albany on like the 3rd or 4th and the 11th and 12th. Why is it us that's doing this campaign to block this legislation? Why aren't they doing it? Why, after they're denouncing it now, are they not activating you to make those calls and emails? Another good question. But hey, Michael Mulgrew wants to tell all of you we're lying, we're spreading misinformation, whatever. Nice PowerPoint, by the way. It was absolutely beautiful. Little pipes and water bottles dancing. It is spectacular. Oh my gosh. Dan, any movement on the copay case? Nothing. CJP, in the words of Maya Angelou, when someone shows you who they are, believe them. DC 37 UFT liars. Amen, CJP. Kathy, I have been having conversations privately to spread the word about the Ponzi pension scheme because I'm learning so many retirees are totally unaware of this issue. I'm learning unions are union members. Let me read you DC 37's memo to all of their unions 2 days ago. I got this message. I was like, you have got to be kidding me. Henry Garrido literally wrote this message from his cell phone and sent it out to all the unions, the members, and the leadership. And then they're respreading it because it came back to me tenfold. There is a vicious lie being circulated by the retiree group as part of the propaganda to undermine the union that needs to be refuted immediately regarding an amendment introduced by the city to the upcoming state budget that attempts to delay money from our employee pension system to pay for health care. Did you just hear that? Our vicious lie is going to delay money from the pension system to pay for healthcare. Isn't that what we said? Never mind. Then the next sentence, let me be clear. DC 37 does not support this legislation. Okay. Not only did we oppose the initial introduction of the legislation in Albany, we are currently fighting it in the Senate and Assembly during ongoing budget deliberations. Why are you not activating your daytime army? That's what I want to know. If you're so against it, you'll send us robo-texts for shit around the country. You'll send us robo-emails, robo-text message, robo-calls to fight any war. Why are we not fighting this together as a team? I just don't know. The Office of Management and Budget submitted this legislation proposal to the governor before the pension trustees took a vote, which appears to be a deliberate decision to exclude the representatives of the very workers this legislation will directly impact. Since the introduction, DC 37 has registered a no vote at NYSERS and BURS in our capacity as pension trustees. Well, if you're acknowledging that this legislation would have a negative impact, you are activating your members right now to lobby against 1096. You are activating your members to sign a petition against 1096. You are activating your members against our state legislation. And yet you're against this, but not activating anyone to lobby against this bill. Yes, Eileen says these union leaders are brain dead. Right, but we're the ones spreading disinformation. Ida says, I received a letter that SHIP will reimburse UFT retirees for all copay. No, it's not all their copays. They will only increase, they will give you they will give you $105 back. This is because Mulgrew's team keeps screwing up. They have to keep bribing you with something else. Like they gave you like $60 more towards your drug plan. They gave you like $100 more towards vision and dental. Then they gave you $105 towards copays after imposing the copays on you, by the way, to get raises in their last contract. Yeah, okay. He says, we will continue to fight any attempts to take money from our pensions, period. Wait, didn't Mulgrew said no one was taking money from the pension? Never, I'm just going to continue. We will condemn any organization that uses deceit, deliberate misinformation, and scare tactics to attempt to turn our members against us, being mindful of the source of information you presented. This retiree group has proven time and again that it will stoop to any low to garner support, even at the expense of our active and retired members. Our union is stronger than those who wish to harm us. I laughed my ass off so hard I fell on the floor when I read this one. You just can't make this up. What's your comment about Mulgrew's kickback of copays? So William, he imposed copays on retirees. He imposed copays on retirees. I'm going to say that again. He imposed copays on retirees, and he did it for raises. He's done it for a decade. I have the proof, and I've showed you those documents when we did our emails. Literally, every time is a full sheet. I have 3 sheets of them where it says if they raise the copay to this much or the deductible to this much, it would give them this many millions of dollars in like 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, and 21. And that's how they funded their contracts, was by passing costs on to you. Active workers, if you're listening to this video, you need to listen to this now because I'm going to tell you what's going to happen with that active worker RFP. The active worker RFP, they're looking at resolving that RFP by end of April, and that yet they're not going to announce the vendor until June, July. I'm going to say July. And then that plan is supposed to take effect January 1. You know, it's election season, right? Doesn't Mulgrew have an election? Ballots, UFT people, you tell me in the chat, when do ballots get counted? Anybody? Bueller? When do ballots get counted? June. They get counted in June. So if they notify you in July that there's a new plan taking place, because May they go out, June they get counted, July the new plan will be announced. It's too late to get rid of them. What they're doing is what we're hearing is that they're doing tiering hospitals, increasing deductibles and copays. And it don't matter where you live. If you live near NYU and that's the nearest hospital, guess what? That's one of the most expensive hospitals now to go to. They're looking at making the most expensive hospitals to be NYU and New York Presbyterian. And so now they're creating this national plan, which is not Emblem, right? It's a national plan. Emblem is regional. National plans are expensive because you have to pay for the network around the United States. Where's that going to come from? Especially if the plan I'm already telling you the plan costs more money. And also Emblem's been paying at like what, 1986, 1989 reimbursement rates. So people aren't going to accept that nationwide. So you're going to put a proper plan in place. So what will happen then? Now you have a more expensive plan. They promised the city on that RFP they would save 10%. Guess what, guys? It's coming out of your pocket. Yours, mine, ours. Mulgrew doesn't care. He makes like $500,000. What does he care? He has other insurance. I think his union gives him insurance. So you guys got to pay attention to this. Active workers. My retirees know they know this by very well by now. They know this all very well. Active workers, pay attention because this is coming to you. We've been saying to you for years, listen to what's happening to us. May 29th is the date. Yeah. Hey, Michael, we will not take bribes. We're not stupid. I know, Ann. This has been the best year for UFT members. ABC will run every 3 years if it gets better services for retirees. Well, Katie, your guys are probably going to win that election, hands down. So maybe we could stop these copays and get the MLC to actually trust the UFT again. Marianne, I spent a beautiful but unsuccessful Sunday last November election in Pennsylvania canvassing with District 20 Council member Sandra Ung. I haven't spoken to her since. Is she on our side? The answer is no, John. Sandra has not signed on to our legislation. Thank you, Katie. Katie says ballots are mailed the 1st and they're counted the 29th. So even if they do announce it June, July, if he gets reinstated, guess what? We're already being told from people, from unions that are in the know, supposedly, that this is what they're negotiating. And every time they pass a backdoor premium to you, backdoor premium, and that's why I say that. 12-126 has been settled by the court when it says the city will pay the full cost of health coverage up to the HIP HMO, means that the city has to pay up to that benchmark, and coverage is defined as premium. So they cannot pass premium onto you if it's below the benchmark. How are they passing it on to you? Copays and deductibles. That's how, and that's a backdoor premium. And why do we know it's a backdoor premium? Well, because we have some memo on it, and we also have rate sheets. When, for example, they introduced copays on the Medicare population, the premium rate to the city on senior care dropped. When the judge granted the injunction, the premium rate went back up. When we look at other plans, like when they did it to the HIP rate, and the unions literally suppressed the benchmark by increasing copays in HIP plan, it reduced the plan's benchmark value. They're doing it to themselves on purpose. And then you'll hear Henry screaming, but the stabilization fund, Thank you, John. She needs to get on the bill as the rest of them. And listen, I'm going to keep saying this. I don't care if we win in court in May, right? We go back to court May 15th. We'll be putting that sign up soon. Even if we win in court, this bill is staying here and coming back. The reason is we've got to stop the backdoor premiums in the form of increased copays and deductibles. I have a retiree that called me today. She had to go onto to pick up food from like a what the heck is that word? Food pantry. Thank you. She had to go to food pantry for the first time to pick up food, and in her 70s had to go get a job because the copays between her and her husband, who's very sick, is evil. That's not why she was a unionist who was promised benefits. And this is what they're doing to us. And no one is angry other than us. So make this crystal clear. Active workers need to start paying attention because this is coming for them. They don't even realize that this is what's being negotiated. Do you have some idea about what will happen to folks outside the tri-state area who are not yet Medicare eligible but retired, some on disability? So, Ellen, that's what that national plan is supposed to create. It's supposed to cover people who are not Medicare eligible. If they're not on disability, that means they're not on Medicare. They're just disabled from the job. They would be on the under 65 healthcare plan, which is the same as the active plan. And that's the national plan that they're trying to create. So it would provide you with a national plan, just like what I'm telling you is that plan is going to be more expensive. They're going to be putting more costs into it from what we're being told. I'm asking about the new RFP for the under 65 active workers. Yes. And we were already told as well, we heard him in the MLC meeting, Alan Klinger said that the Aetna plan is going to cost more. So if we lose in court after May's oral arguments, the cost to the city is going up. Union officials are being told, even those outside of mine, not to speak on 1096 because it's illegal. It can't be a talking point. Yep, we've been hearing the same thing. And it's not illegal. But who are they to judge? They're not a judge. They need to pass this law. Look, I was saying this today, and you had the city council pass a bill under Corey Johnson in 2021 that right after Eric Adams and Adri Adams, Eric Adams became mayor, Eric Adams became mayor, Adrian Adams became speaker. Because the mayor did not veto or sign the bill for allowing immigrants to vote, the bill became a law under Speaker Adams. Even though the law department memos said that this violates the Constitution of the United States, like not just New York, like of the United States. So they passed the law anyway. Council let it go. They wanted it. There was, you go look at that law. It was introduced by Ydanis Rodriguez in 2021. That went immediately to court. People challenged it. I think the Common Sense Caucus challenged it. And you got that decision on Thursday. The court said, you can't do this. It violates the Constitution. It wasn't up to the council to decide whether it was legal or illegal. They did a law that they wanted to do, that they believed in. Let the court settle it. And in this case, the court did. The legislature is a legislature, not a judicial body. They're not the judge and jury. That has to go to like a Judge Frank. It goes to Manhattan Supreme Court and let them figure out if it's legal or not. But here's the kick. The law department specifically clearly said in a memo that that bill that was introduced by Ydanis Rodriguez and under Corey Johnson as then speaker was violating the law. And they cited the law. No one has ever done that to 1096 or 1099. The one law department document that we have doubts that the bill is illegal. And yet she's still, Adrian, when I say she, Adrian Adams, as in the Adams family, lies and lies about it repeatedly. We have a 19-page document from the law department saying that this position is not free from doubt twice. She is hands down lying. And she just did a video the other day with a group I don't even think is in New York to help get women of color elected to office. Lying about our issue. So that's pandering. And then today she's out with a whole bunch of elected pandering to senior centers because she wants to make everyone think she's wonderful. We probably need to start a campaign where we're going to senior centers and passing out our flyers. Don't let Adrienne in. She's pandering. Despicable, the greed and hate of our union leadership. I agree with you. This is so sad. Oh my God. Sad and despicable. I know. I had 4 separate doctor visits so far in 25. Each doctor has a different understanding of the $15 copay, but they all agree the city is purposely confusing everyone. I would tend to agree with you. Did our organization put the copay case on hold to go to arbitration with the city over the copay case? No, we've announced last year they were ordering us to do, they had encouraged us to do mediation. The lawyers have been talking. There's not much moving there. And then they just keep bumping up the date to argue or go back to court because I guess they're hoping to come to some sort of a settlement somewhere, somehow. I honestly don't know. But they're not, I don't know if they'll come to any resolution. This is going to have to go back to court eventually. So when we know, we'll let you know. But right now we don't. Good night, and everyone have a good weekend. Good night, William. It was good to see you. So that's really all I have. There's really nothing else to do other than tell you, keep doing that homework, keep pressuring the state elected, because clearly the union leadership is not activating their members to do it. They're posting that they're against it, but they're not doing a damn thing to do anything to stop it. You are. And you just need to keep letting yourself be heard. You have breakfast, click send. You have lunch, click send. You have dinner, click send. You're sitting in the bathroom on your phone, click send. Just keep doing it. And you got to make those calls too. Just pick a couple people and just start making calls. Please urge them not to pass this legislation. And then we'll pick back up and start pressuring them on City Council 1096. Please call your council person if they're not on the bill. So far, we still just have 13 people, and we'll pick that fight up probably. Well, the state bill, I think the budget has to be passed like by the 1st. Sometimes they're late, but they're not usually not more than I think like 2 weeks late. When you stated all NYSERS agencies, you didn't mention New York City Doc. Jesse James. DC 30 NYSERS, New York City Employees Retirement System, covers dozens of unions. It also affects New York City Department of Corrections. I do not have a relationship with Benny Bosco, if that's who you're talking about. But yes, this does affect everyone in NYSERS. If you are not just DC 37, and you are correct, anyone. It is a NYSERS pensioner, active or retired. This affects you. Thank you for all you do for us, your retirees. West up. Thank you, Joe. I appreciate you. Larry, did Vicky Palladino sign on? Yes, she did. Thank you for all you do for us. You're welcome, Nellie. So, Yolanda, has this organization reached out to Cuomo's campaign? We did. They didn't call us back. So if you know someone, Yolanda, give me a ringy dingy because I could use a nudge. They have not called us back. So far, we will be meeting with Curtis Sliwa next week, and he's already told me he supports what we're doing. So I had a nice conversation already there. So we do have a lot of support. Regardless what the unions are doing. The union DC 37 is a paper tiger. There's so many issues there. It's not even funny. So just stay focused, guys. I mean, we have ourselves to just keep fighting. And I'm just going to keep saying, we're going to be doing this for a while. I'm not going anywhere. We're not giving up this fight. This is our fight to fight, because the people that should have protected us aren't. And then the people that should be protecting us from the people that are screwing us are in bed with those people. So, now you've got Adrienne Adams, who wants to run for mayor, and she's getting donations and campaign endorsements from people who are screwing us. I mean, that's a conflict to me. She's truly conflicted. Ada Hernandez, a million thanks for what you're doing. Thank you. William Kluge, Curtis for mayor. Well, hopefully you'll see him, I think maybe in 2 weeks. This organization has turned my politics upside down. Randy, leave your politics at the door, girl, because let me tell you something. There is no room for politics here. We've said this long time ago, because normally, under normal circumstances, and we're definitely not in normal circumstances, right? When I said that we would fix this in 6 months, because the city is a Democratic city with 51 council members that are mostly Democrats, Democrat progressives. Where are the progressives on this? In bed with the union. Why? Because they're all friends. We're older. They don't know who we are. They're listening to them lie. You literally have a speaker saying, well, I don't know why this is before the council. And I want to grab her and shake her and say, and she knows this. She knows the city council legislated healthcare. It's not like she doesn't. And she doesn't want to talk to us. But yet she'll go on YouTube and do a video that she supports retirees. She loves her retirees. Did you guys see that video? And then her cousin, Paris Sorrell, who posted the video, blocked all of us after tagging us in the video. Are you that stupid? We're not stupid. She tags us in a little clip of the video. Let me see if I could pull that up for you. You're not going to believe this. This absolutely defies logic. And then I'll show you she blocked me. Okay, now let me come back to you. Okay, this is Paris Sorrell. She is the niece, I believe, or cousin of Speaker Adams. If I scroll down her page, Paris Sorrell has blocked you. Oh, look, here she is with Kevin Riley doing the boogie at a senior center in the Bronx. Now I got to scroll down because she posts a lot of stuff. Give me a second, and I'm going to find that video. Unless she smartened up and deleted them all. Oh, here she is again. This was today, dancing with more seniors because she's got to show she loves the seniors. You'd think this would have been easier to find. Let me see if I could find it an easier way. That's up. Oh, no, here it is. Found it. All right, let me come back to you. All right. It's only a short clip.
We want to do for our retirees, the legislation is not going to accomplish it. What I want to happen, this is personal, what I want to happen is for the mayoral administration to stop fighting this. The retirees deserve to have what they have always had as far as what was originally promised to them. That was the promise made to you by your leadership in your unions. That is what was promised to you. In taking a look at the legislation, Sister Net, what will happen with that legislation if it were to pass in the council? This issue would be a legal battle in perpetuity. So as much as we want to do for our retirees, the legislation is not going to accomplish it. What I want to happen, this is personal, what I want to happen is for the mayoral administration to stop fighting this. The retirees deserve to have what they have always had as far as what was originally promised to them. That was the promise made to you by your leadership in your unions. That is what was promised to you. In taking a look at the legislation.
So what do you think about that? That is what Paris Sorrell posted on Twitter, reposted, tagged a bunch of us, and we called bullshit on that, not only because the legislation wouldn't be illegal and it wouldn't be in the courts for decades, it's because she doesn't want to do it, because she didn't want to admit to Chantal that the city council, the very body that she presides over, legislated health care. And that the mayor's memo, the mayor's law department memo in 2 places says that her position, that the bill that we were doing that was illegal isn't illegal. They doubted it twice in the same document. She has that document and she knows we do too. Notice she didn't mention that in the clip either. The city council not only legislated 12-126, it gave you healthcare. We're preserving a floor that's been in place for 60 years. We're not asking for anything more. Adrienne Adams is a bullshit artist. There's really nothing more to say. She is clearly under the influence of Henry Garrido and the UFT. There's no other way to say that. And she is not a judge. She is a legislator. And especially that the very first bill that passed under her authority as Speaker of the City Council, a position that she was given because of the support that she got from DC 37, ended up in litigation because she was agreed to violate a bill that she signed on as a council member, by the way, that violated the Constitution. Even the mayor, if he didn't agree with it, didn't say no. He said, let the courts decide it. Why was it okay to do it with that and not with this? Nothing would change. I know. Total bullshit. I hear you, CJP. Absolutely. Nope. And you can't make it up. This is why, we started retweeting this when I saw that video. I was like, I had lost my mind. How she could lie blatantly and then have a PR firm keep retweeting that clip. Don't give her money. Don't canvass for her. Don't rank her. Don't do anything for her. Nothing. She is not worth your time. Just like Garrido, she's dangerous. Absolutely. She wants to say that if that this should be, I have to forget the fuller clip on that, because there's one point in the video, it's a half an hour video up on YouTube. And she basically says that we should have what we have, but it should be someone else that fixes this, not her. That to me doesn't tell me you're a leader. You're a spineless fool at that point. What's in it for her? Money, favoritism, donations, campaign endorsements from DC 37. That's her talking in circles, I know. Let them sue. We've been in court for 4 years. And we're getting really good at this, right? That's why I think we're a new family. We are all family at this point. They're not going away. Who is supporting Adrienne Adams? Who's endorsing her? Where does she stand today compared to other candidates? Larry, give me till next week, because we're actually pulling those numbers. We were talking about it yesterday. She's really not anywhere. She didn't meet matching this quarter because she jumped in this fight late. And she really only jumped into it at the encouragement of a few people because of Cuomo entering the race. She literally, and she admits that in this video as well. She was encouraged after Cuomo came in the race to join in. Are we going to show up and make comments during our election campaign? John, you guys are welcome to go anywhere you want to go. Bring a couple friends, bring a sign, roll it up, put it in a backpack. Don't let them see your sign because they might want to stop you from going in there. Just roll it up and put it in a bag, and then make sure you take it out after you're seated and everything starts. You can put it away if you want to, do a little, your chanting or whatnot. I mean, Michelle's taught you a few good things to say. But yes, do go and be yourselves and make sure you're heard, and make sure you educate other retirees that are in that room, wherever you are, that she's not supporting you. She's lying to you because you are a retiree. And, Yolanda, you made a point before that I forgot to bring up. Absolutely. That Mary Pinkett was from Local 371. She was president of 371, and yet she still passed every one of those, introduced and passed every one of those amendments. And the sly, manipulative politic talk, all bullshit from Adrienne Adams. Yes, and every time you say Adrienne, don't say Adrienne, say Adrienne Adams. Keep saying Adrienne Adams. When she did her campaign sign, she forgot her last name. She didn't forget it. She left it off on purpose because she didn't want to be associated with Eric Adams. And that's why I started calling them the Adams family. Eric Adams, Adrienne Adams. Going to keep saying it over and over and over and over again. Yep. Is she coming to our mayoral forum? I know that's a joke, Robert, because she hasn't RSVP'd. Janice says she won't even be on the ballot. Retired labor strong. That's where we're going. It's sad that we can't get active UFT members to understand this. That's a loyalty issue, Anne-Marie. It's concerning to me. But actually, I will tell you, several Unity people did contact us in the last week that they recognize their leader isn't who he says he is. I am announcing that officially today. We are getting calls from Unity people telling us that they are supporting ABC. I'm saying that loud. I don't know who's on here. Is ABC on here? We are getting calls. I'm saying it again. Hello, retirees, active union members. We are getting calls from Unity members who said we're right and that they will be voting for ABC. Thank you. Ay. Spring is here. It's time for kukutsa. I know. I was outside today. I was walking around the garden a little bit, and I have to go plant them because I'm already behind. So I will do that tonight. I will start a seed journal for my kukutsas. The Adams family. I know. Yay, ABC. Absolutely. I'm telling you, I got 3 phone calls and an email. Unity members now believe in ABC. So if you're listening, Yes, I'm proud to be part of ABC. Glad to hear that, Marion. Yes, Laura, congratulations. That was, and I just want you to know, because I have been so busy today, I'm going to show you. I have 116 text messages I have not been able to get to. So there could be more. Today was a really good day for information. That's awesome. If mediation is not working, why not go? Erwin, we will, but this takes time. It is not an event. It is a process. That's all I could tell you. I can't rush anything. The lawyers can't rush anything. And the copay case is complicated. Remember, we're dealing with the city, the law department, the comptroller's office, Emblem Health. There's like so many lawyers in that room. It's a freaking nightmare. Those look like Pac-Mans, Larry. I don't know what that is. Yay, ABC. Absolutely, Patricia. Which mayoral candidate stands with us at this point? There's actually several. We will be announcing that as we get a little bit closer. But you should know, just most of them are on our website already. I didn't put them all up there, but most of them. And no word from Andrew. No. I was on X and sent him an offer, even though I dislike him. So if anyone has a contact with Cuomo, we're still working on Cuomo. I liked his dad, and I worked for his dad as a grad student. You know, John, my grandmother and my aunt both worked for Mario. Listen is key. Medicare of all citizens. I hear you. Our meetings are now being held at 6 on Fridays. Patricia, it's easier for me. I'm tired. I'm trying to get to bed before 9 just because I've got so much to do, and I've been going through physical therapy for this shoulder, and I'm still having problems. So, and I'm not sleeping, as you could tell from my post at 4 o'clock in the morning. Should we start writing to Andrew? You know what, Janice? That's a great idea. Everyone start writing to Andrew Cuomo. Go to his campaign, click an email, write to contact the campaign, and tell him you need to hear from him. That'd be an awesome idea. Let me see if I could pull that up. So here's his campaign site. And other than, you could probably do a get involved. I don't see how else to get him. Let's see what he has on health and wellness. Nope, he doesn't address it. So you're going to have to figure out how to get him. I would say social media. If he's on Facebook or he's on Twitter, that might be a way of getting him. So that his website's in the chat. He has X, formerly Twitter. Yep. So tweet him over there. I'm sure his campaign people are looking. Time to remind Andy there are over 250,000 New York City retirees plus relatives and lots of friends got votes. Yeah. Cuomo did away with all the health care for OTB workers. We don't want him. No, I know that, but it would make for a really good a good forum. Remember, our mayoral forum is April 17th. Okay, we're going to start putting that out next week. So, all right. I'm going to have a cup of tea. You guys are going to go relax. Don't forget to do your homework. There's 4 different homeworks. There's those annoying DC-37 emails, which really aren't a priority. The real priority is doing the state emails, the state phone calls. But since it's the weekend, do email because that's easy. And then during the week, do some more of the phone calls, okay? You do have at the top the state email. At the bottom, you have the city council email. So you can do all of those. And I will see you Monday. Have a great weekend, everyone. Say thank you to the moderators. We appreciate everything that they do in helping us answer our questions and be there for you when you need it. Enjoy your weekend, and I will see you Monday. We will then, in April, as come April 1st, start up our fundraising again because our cash is starting to dip. So we wanted to give you a little bit of space to do campaign donations, but we're going to pick that back up as we are moving into litigation. We got to get bus registrations to do the buses in May. Got a lot going on. And of course, keep that truck in front of DC 37 headquarters. I do want you to know that clearly it got Henry Garrido pissed off this week that he actually attacked the truck. He had 2 of his employees go out there and threaten the truck driver. Wasn't pretty. So I love you guys. Take it easy. Keep the faith, and I will see you next week. Take it easy.
Don't speak what you don't understand. The truth is not in your command. Don't shout about what you think is fake. The decision isn't yours to make. Don't lie about the way things